Good morning and welcome to Daybreak on WGRZ-Plus. Well, the time has finally come. The Bills training camp is officially underway at St. John Fisher University in Pittsford, and our sports team is there now covering all things Bills. We just heard from head coach Joe Brady about his first day expectations.
We've never been here before, right? There is no oh, you know what training camp's like, or that's when you fall back into the assumption of you start thinking like we've always thought, right? And so, but I can't be anybody that I'm not, right? I'm going to act the certain way. There's standards, and there's a personnel that I want us to be about.
And we will hear more from Brady in just about 10 minutes from now. But right now, we're going to send things up to the roof, or happening today. In our top story, we're expecting new developments in the federal terrorism trial of Hadi Matar. As we learn, the trial could soon be in the hands of the jury. Closing arguments are expected today, paving the way for deliberations. This comes after prosecutors and the defense rested their cases on day 6 of the trial. Matar is already serving a 25-year state prison sentence. If convicted on these federal charges, the 28-year-old could spend the rest of his life behind bars. Two on Your Side will be in the courtroom today as this case comes to a close, and we bring you the latest updates. Well, radiation concerns are growing for homeowners in Niagara County. The state DEC and EPA are sharing new details as agencies continue to collect soil samples from homes at risk. So far, 55 properties in the town of Niagara have been tested. Two on Your Side's Nate Benson has the latest. Nate?
Hey there, good morning. Lawmakers at the state and federal level are starting to weigh in on an ever-evolving situation of radioactive hotspots being confirmed in Niagara County. Let me first elaborate a little bit more on something we told you on Monday. Many of the residents in the town of Niagara are calling on Governor Hochul to declare these hotspots as a, quote, state Superfund site.
She needs to declare us a Superfund site.
She can't. That's because New York State environmental law does not list radionuclides like the thorium hotspots being discovered in Niagara County as hazardous waste. You heard me right. For the statutory definition, New York State law does not recognize radioactive material as hazardous waste, meaning it's not eligible for Superfund status.
I actually did not know that, and that is certainly something that I would look to address.
I reached New York State Senator Rob Wirt on Zoom Tuesday night, and he says his team is already looking at ways to amend state law to include radionuclides in the Superfund law.
If there's a legislative fix going forward, especially if this is still ongoing when we get to January, which it may be for some people, that is certainly a legislative fix that I would be very interested in not only championing, but trying to get through both the Senate and the Assembly.
EPA Region 2 Administrator Mike Martucci told the media on Tuesday afternoon that the federal agency will be undertaking any cleanup of the new hotspots that have been discovered.
EPA undertakes removal actions like this all across the country at sites with radiological material, much like what we're seeing in some of the homes, and certainly in the homes that have been referred to this agency by DEC. So that process is one that this agency has a lot of familiarity with. And is positioned well to undertake.
But when will that happen, and how long will it take? That's an open-ended question right now that doesn't have an answer. The only indicator of cleanup that was shared by the EPA is that...
So each one of those cleanups is going to be individualized to the contaminants of concern on an individual property. To be clear, the contamination is not uniform. It is very unique to each and every property, and that's why that sampling is necessary to better understand exactly what material is there.
Right now, the main culprit
Is we're seeing thorium at elevated levels.
There's been a lot of conversation about the release of information to the public, or in the eyes of some, the lack thereof. The on-site coordinator for the DEC, Pete Luchenko, told reporters on Tuesday that all the data will eventually be released, but the radiological data from the 2023 aerial survey alone does not tell the whole story. When a hotspot is detected, additional ground testing is needed to confirm the data, which is happening now.
But we want to be able to explain it, though, properly. We don't want people to be worried. We don't want people to be upset. We don't want people to be financially hurt by the process we're doing it. We're here to try to help the people. We're trying to make sure it's, try to take care of something that should have been done a long time ago. This is the process is for us to vet the data properly. It will be released. It just takes us a little time.
But for Congressman Tim Kennedy, he wants the EPA to move as quickly as possible to identify the hotspots and clean them up.
Everyone needs to look at this as a top priority at every level of government, and we're pushing them to make sure that they do.
Now, there are public information sessions this Thursday and next Monday in Niagara Falls. For those interested in talking with the DEC and EPA officials about those hotspots, we have full details posted right now on our website. On your side, Nate Benson, Channel 2 News.
All right, thank you, Nate. And as schools and universities explore new ways to use artificial intelligence, some educators are raising concerns about where that technology could lead. And that includes the Salamanca School District's now paused proposal for a robot teaching assistant to questions about AI's future role in higher education. SUNY faculty members recently secured new workplace protections in their latest contract.
What we got was to ensure that if I am in my classroom teaching, I cannot be replaced by artificial intelligence or an android.
Cole says the contract gives employees a way to challenge any attempt to replace their jobs with AI through the union grievance process. While supporting AI research and innovation across SUNY, he says the union wants to safeguard to protect workers while still allowing beneficial uses of technology in areas like healthcare. He adds other unions are already looking at the agreement's AI language as possible models. New York State is taking another step to protect kids online. Attorney General Letitia James and Governor Kathy Hochul released the final rules for the state's Safe for Kids Act yesterday. The law requires social media companies to limit algorithms and late-night notifications for users under 18, that is, unless they have parental consent. It also requires platforms to verify users' ages before allowing access to those features. State leaders say the new rules are designed to address the growing mental health impact social media can have on young people. The rules take effect January 25th of next year. Companies that violate the law could face civil penalties of up to $5,000 per violation. Well, we are looking ahead to a fundraising event in Orchard Park this Saturday. Wings Flights of Hope, the local nonprofit known for providing free air transportation to patients traveling for medical care, will be raising money. And Daybreak's Kevin O'Neill has a preview for us this morning.
Hanging around a hangar with Joe DeMarco Sr., the founder and pilot, of course, of the Wings Flights of Hope. What's the origin story?
Well, we started, my wife and myself, we're the founders. We started Wings Flights of Hope, and just to be able to give people a second chance and give them hope, and that's what we're all about. We give hope one flight at a time.
Right. What's like a typical mission for you?
We stay mostly in the Northeast, so we do a lot of trips to New York City for Memorial Sloan Kettering. We go to Boston Children's, Philadelphia Children's, Pittsburgh Children's.
These are people getting life-saving procedures.
Right, they're going wherever that best care is, and the flights are free, and it's all done with volunteer pilots. It's so rewarding to be a part of someone's fight to survive.
Yeah, so many stories you must have. I mean,
yeah.
And the seeing pictures of the kids gets me.
Yeah, well, you know, some people don't realize why do pilots do it, because we all volunteer. You know, we have a plane, you love to fly, and it gives you a great purpose to go somewhere. Some pilots go out and fly around in circles and stay current. I got to fly to keep current, otherwise, you know, they go, really, I see them leaving Buffalo, they go around robin.
Right.
That means they're not going anywhere. They're going to Dunkirk, Jamestown, and back here.
Right.
So we go out, we have a real purpose, and our mission is, you know, to give hope.
Matt, so it's going to be a fundraiser, but it's going to be a party.
Right. It's a huge party. It's we have hopefully 1,000 to 1,500 people. We have a huge stage, concert sound. We play a video. We have people tell their stories, and it's more powerful when you hear a mother or father talk about their child, or somebody with cancer said, you know, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Wings, and the pilots, what they did for me over the years, have taken me every other week.
The fundraiser's at your property on California Road. Bills fans know it. It's a big parking lot. And it's 4 to 11, so bring your kids during the day, and they got face painting and superheroes there.
Yeah.
Or come at night and have a beer and listen to the bands.
Yeah, 4 to 11, so we got plenty of time for people to make it, even if you have other things going on. And you know, Michael will be telling his story. He was a young guy, he didn't have much hope, and he just celebrated 5 years cancer-free. So
unbelievable.
We flew him every other week for a year, and those are the things that excite us and motivate us, and people want to help us. And we wouldn't be able to do it without our community. Even though we all volunteer, it takes a lot to keep these planes going, keep advertising going, keep fuel and everything else. So We don't take any donations from anybody.
That's
We
the
fly.
thing.
We don't take anything money from people we fly. We're not for hire, so it has to come from events like the Wings Barbecue.
Okay, I'll put a plug in for the website, Joe. It's make sure I get it, wingsflight.org. And then if you want to go to wingsflight.org/BBQ for more information on the fundraiser this Saturday in Orchard Park. On your side in Cheektowaga, I'm Kevin O'Neill, Channel 2 News.
All right, Kev, thanks very much. And check this out. We are tracking weather across the tri-state area after storms soaked the Northeast. Storms soaked the Northeast. Right now, a live look over New York City. Heavy rain still lingers there, but things should start to settle down in a little bit. But a heads up if you're traveling today. The Buffalo Niagara Airport has had several delays and cancellations posted. If you or a loved one are traveling, make sure you double check your flight with your airline. Right now, impacted flights include those to New York City, New Jersey, Chicago, North Carolina, and a few other locations. And take a look at the overnight scene in Philadelphia. Fire rescue crews spent overnight hours pumping out water from homes. Reporter Reed Binion breaks down the impact and the challenges that lie ahead.
It just got dark and windy. It rained so bad that you couldn't even see out your window.
Communities across the Northeast slammed with violent storms Tuesday.
I just hunkered down. My dog is very scared of the thunder.
Some parts of the region were forecast to possibly get more than a month's worth of rain through the night. Flash flood watches were in effect for tens of millions of people, from Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey, as well as parts of New England, down to Maryland, where street flooding in Baltimore was bad enough to leave cars partially submerged. The high water got so bad in some areas that crews had to carry out rescues, including in the town of Coalport, Pennsylvania, where 3 people and 2 dogs had to be rescued from a home. The destructive weather pushed further south, too, with storms powerful enough to send a massive tree crashing into this house in the Washington, D.C. area. The storm threat stretched even farther south into the Carolinas, where the rain was so heavy in Charlotte that it completely obscured the skyline for a time. Elsewhere in the state, a City of Asheville public meeting was put on hold for a tornado warning and evacuation. It comes as communities in the Midwest are still reeling from storms that struck earlier in the week. The National Weather Service confirming that at least 4 tornadoes hit the Chicago area Monday. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Wow, that was Reed Binion with that story. And Patrick, the amount of geography he covered with that storm damage, starting out in the Northeast to the Southeast and the Midwest. This is a huge system that ripped through.
Yeah, all the severe weather reports, really, except for one. We had a tornado in Utah yesterday. That's not very common. Although I do remember Salt Lake City got hit by a tornado in 2002. I was there like the next day. Anyway, all right. From a weather standpoint, meteorological standpoint, this is actually pretty cool. Deep area of low pressure crossing Long Island right now. Look at that swirl. It looks like a nor'easter almost. Bringing heavy rain to New York City. That's why we had all the flight delays earlier. And very heavy rain from Lake George down to Albany. And look at that. It's very heavy. We have some flood warnings out there. This is the system that caused all the ruckus yesterday that gentleman was reporting. We kind of got a piece of it yesterday with some heavy rain in Chautauqua, Cattaraugus counties, Niagara County. Now we're seeing just some leftover clouds and maybe a few sprinkles or a light rain shower moving through as we go into the morning hours, late morning hours. Okay, through the day today, the skies are, the clearing line is not far from Buffalo to the west, but, it may take a little while for the clouds to erode and bring us some partial clearing later on. Notice the showers, though, continuing east of us over the Finger Lakes and towards the Adirondacks. But here we're going to be on the dry side of the system for the most part. Temperatures today in the mid to upper 70s, which is about 4 to 5 degrees below average. And then for tomorrow, we're going to be right around average, which is about 80 with, we'll call it partly cloudy skies for your Thursday. All right, today mostly cloudy, partial clearing later on. Better weather, though, tomorrow and certainly Friday. Saturday, the clouds are going to thicken up a bit, but boy, it's going to be warm, 86. And some showers and a few thunderstorms, Pete, on Sunday. Next week is looking warmer with temperatures in the 80s.
All right, sounds good. Thank you very much, Patrick. Well, stay with us. We will be hearing more from Bills head coach Joe Brady. Now with training camp officially underway in Pittsford, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back on the other side. Welcome back, 9:16 now, and it's like Christmas morning for Bills fans and football fans around the country. As of today, all 32 teams are in training camp, including the Bills team.
Not today.
Well, that's not today. But they did hit the field at St. John Fisher this morning. The first day starting just a little under an hour ago. And we are hearing from head coach Joe Brady, who spoke a little while ago this morning with the media. He talked about what his expectations are heading into this new era at Highmark Stadium.
I like coming away to camp because there's that focus that where it's like, hey man, there's a lot of things going on outside of football, but man, for the guys, like we're in this all together, and we focus on the football and the connection piece. And I know it's one of those things a lot of people don't put a lot of attention and focus on. It's like, man, this is such a grown man sport, but the connection piece is so critical, and making sure that we're being really intentional about how we go about that. And when the guys have time together, right, or are they just being with themselves? They obviously got to make sure they're in the playbook, but are they hanging with each other, growing with each other? And so that because when you get back to Buffalo, sometimes it's natural, right? Your work day's over and you're going back home because you got a wife and kids and family that we're here, man, you're back with the guys. And so I think that's so important, and you want to establish a mentality that we're kind of working towards, right? And you can say all you want as a coach, right? Like you can talk till you're blue in the face, but when the guys take the ownership and really believe in who you're going to be, that's when I think it comes to life. And so I think training camp is where you kind of are convicted on that. We have less off days now while we're here, right? So, it's going to be a consistent, hey, every single day we're kind of be working with football. But I love getting away, but I also want to make sure there's a lot of different nuances this year with regards to us getting back into the stadium and just getting to that flow of, hey, the first time we're not there isn't the preseason game, that type of thing. I want there to be mistakes today. Like that allows us to be able to coach off of it. So there's going to be stuff like, man, that's sloppy, but it's good. It's great from the team meetings, great for the unit meetings to be able to showcase, what that looks like and how we can, clean up the standard. Look, there's 32 NFL teams, and every head coach is facing the same challenges, right? Like every team showed up yesterday saying, man, let's go try to win the Super Bowl, right? Like, but that's human nature. But it's like, what are we going to do to actually get to that point, right? And we're so far removed from it, and that's where a lot of times people talk about, when we get to the playoffs or when we do, like that. None of that is. Yes, there's expectations. I don't believe anybody rises to low expectations, but none of that matters right now. It's about the work that we're going to put in to get to that point.
Yeah, I love what he was saying there, because he's talking about not only the work and the playbook and getting things right on the field, but he's talking about building a family, and the camaraderie and the chemistry off the field that will hopefully translate on the field.
Yeah, this is the first time he's together with all the team, and he's kind of set the mood, if you will, kind of what's the vibe going to be like with this new coach, and like that family spirit, which I think, they're all living together for a while. And it'll be interesting to see how day one goes with him. Yeah,
can you imagine us back in the dorms for a couple of weeks, and it's like, now that would not be productive.
Is there an RA at these dorms?
Heck no. Yeah, he's the head coach.
The head coach.
That's right.
I would need that, because I know the trouble I got into at the dorm level.
Joe Brady, HC and RA. All right, we will be following all things Bills throughout today, both on air and online, as our sports team begins reporting from training camp. For the latest updates, download the free WGRZ app, and you can also head to our website, WGRZ.com. And we're going to talk a little more football. We're going to talk about chicken wings and maybe even a little more weather. Who knows?
They all go together.
Who knows what's coming up after the break? But we do know the break's coming up now. We'll be right back. Well, what goes better with the Bills than chicken wings? And if you haven't heard, it is National Chicken Wing Day today. The day created back in 1977 by Buffalo Mayor Stan Mikowski. I went to school with Stan's son, Paul.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did it to celebrate the Queen City's culinary creation, as well as the thousands of pounds of wings that people were eating each week in Buffalo alone. So Wing King Drew Cerza dropped by the studio this morning to talk about Buffalo's influence on all things wings earlier this morning. Take a listen.
Pete, if you want to have a long career here, which you've had, you don't mention the national chains. You're a professional.
Exactly right.
There's too many great local ones.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, local
and around the world now. We've got the Wing King, Drew Cerza, a man who needs No, well, actually, without your wing hat, without your chicken wing hat, you might need an introduction.
T-shirt kind of gives it away too,
That's
doesn't
true.
it?
That's true.
If you could read.
I missed that. The eye of a reporter. Anyway, we're talking all things wings this morning.
Yeah.
And, you know, Drew, 1977, Mayor Mikowski, you know, he proclaims, he was like a soothsayer. I mean, you're talking about a long time when chicken wings were not even known in most parts of the country.
You threw them away. You didn't even use them. Use them for chicken stock, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's funny. I was a sophomore in high school then when it happened. And one of the colleges I went to several, but was Bryant Stratton, which was kitty corner from the Anchor Bar. And we used to go there in between classes, during classes, whatever. And yeah, they've become a national phenomenon. I was thinking about it too. The Bills going to 4 straight Super Bowls from 1990 to 1994, those chains you didn't mention, they all brought wings into their stores and ran commercials, and I think that's what really made wings synonymous with football and just took them up to new heights.
Yeah, and you know, we talk about, everyone says, oh, the price of this, the price of that. You got to remember when Buffalo, when there were nickel wing nights in Buffalo, yes, I'm old enough to remember that. No one else was eating them. So, but let's go into the Wing Fest. You got another Wing Fest coming up this year. It's not on Labor Day weekend like normal. It's the weekend before, and you're celebrating a landmark year.
Yeah, it's the weekend before Labor Day weekend because of the Bison schedule, which we're pretty excited about. And it's our 25th anniversary, which just sounds crazy. You know, the whole idea from a movie called Osmosis Jones with Bill Murray, big eater, and he wanted to go to the Buffalo Wing Festival, which we didn't have one, and now it's become this annual trip to Mecca, to where the wings started for people all over the country and all over the world.
And you were watching this movie and saying, why don't we have one, right? It's amazing how a simple idea, a simple bit of a movie can lead to something like this.
Usually Hollywood knocks off a real life story. This was real life knocking off a Hollywood story. And I actually met the Farley brothers. They were the producers of the movie. And I told them the story, like I started the Wing Fest because there was no festival. And Bobby Farley looked at me and says, you mean there wasn't? We just assumed there was. And just went with them. Well, thanks. There wasn't, but now Buffalo, you know, when we started this, we took ownership of the wing. People didn't realize around the country they were called Buffalo Wings outside of Buffalo because they're from Buffalo.
Right.
So we took ownership, and I think now people know, you know, we are the place where it all began.
Yeah, and by the way, Thousand Island dressing started up in the Thousand Islands too. So
see, that reporter in you, Pete, you just can't rid of it, can you?
Bingo. All right, and no Thousand Island dressing with chicken wings, by the way. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Pete. All right, buddy.
Happy Wing Day to you.
Yeah, same here. Get your wings tonight, everybody.
Yeah, so let's talk about this first. What's your favorite place to get wings? You can text us your answer. Popular wing spots, you know, the local ones, the bar bills, the Anchor bars. Is that it? Or how about chain restaurants or homemade or your local dive bar? Text us your answer right now to 716-849-2220. And I hope a lot of those answers are your local dive bar.
I would think too, yeah, local or your favorite spot.
Yeah.
Home, I can't make them at home or do it right. I don't know about you.
No, well, the whole house smells like deep fried chicken wings, which is not a bad scent in my book, but, you know, the wife has different opinions.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, I'd rather have that smell than other smells that come out of that kitchen. Anyway, so tell me about what he brought up. Osmosis Jones. What's that story?
Right. Well, Drew's sitting there watching this movie with Bill Murray that came out in the early 2000s, and there's a scene where Bill Murray's character surprises his daughter with this brochure. Says, "Hey, we're going to Buffalo this week." She goes, "Buffalo?" He goes, "Yeah, the national chicken wing. You love chicken wings." And so it goes on from there. And she's paging through this brochure about the Buffalo Chicken Wing Festival,
which hadn't been created yet.
No, it hadn't been. And in the brochure, the funny thing, on one of the pages it says Buffalo, where the wing is king.
That's where he got the name.
Yes, so that's where the wing king came from.
No way.
And just he's sitting there going, yeah, why isn't there a Buffalo Wing Fest? That seems like a natural.
There goes the light bulb.
Yeah, and so Bill Murray has never made it to the Wing Fest. So hopefully I know he watches every day on the stream.
He does.
But he's never actually made it to the Wing Fest. However, after the first one, Drew sent, had a friend of his was at an event in New England where he might run into Bill Murray. So he sent him with a hat and a T-shirt. And Bill was nice enough to put it on and take a picture with the Wingfest
cool.
T-shirt. So that's on the Wingfest website if you want. But
that's cool.
Yeah, and I love the fact that it's back downtown at Salem Field.
I liked how Drew was talking about how when they were at Timeark, you had the festival and then you had the other stuff going on in the stadium, which was kind of cool, but there was a little bit of a disconnect.
Yeah, he said it was kind of a linear event.
Yes.
Whereas at the ballpark, it's all the bowl and you're surrounding
nice and cozy.
it.
Yeah.
But
I'm glad it's back. And last year, I remember the weather was perfect. It wasn't too hot. You know, that's critical in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully it's going to look good coming up. And it's early as this year, late August.
Yeah. Are you going to defend your crown in the chicken wing bombing contest?
Well, yeah.
In the blue cheese?
Lawyers got involved last time, so we'll see.
You know, I don't think I've ever seen anything more disgusting.
Well, this will be the 4-year anniversary, so maybe we'll give it a shot.
All right. Thanks for joining us for Daybreak Plus right here on WGRZ Plus. Have a great day.